We're now at the centre of the battlefield, looking out to where Cromwell would have engaged the Royalist cavalry.
So on the Royalist side, we have Marmaduke Langdale, one of the King's northern lieutenants, Cromwell's cavalry, who are on this side on the right flank of the Parliamentarians. Langdale's men will probably be more and more disheartened as wave after wave of Parliamentarian cavalry come over that ridge and start to push them off the back of the battlefield, but also away from what is their principal role here, which is protecting the flank of the infantry.
That's leaving them vulnerable, isn't it?
That is the critical point. When the critical moment arrives and the Royalist reserves need to be fed in to plug that gap, essentially the man whose job it is to give those orders is not there. The King is there, and the King, we think, probably does attempt to give that order, but his courtiers are unhappy about him exposing himself to danger. So the Royalist reserves don't plug that gap. And that means that as Langdale's men are forced off the back of the battlefield, the second and third lines of Cromwell's cavalry are able to fold in behind the men who are becoming increasingly exposed on the top of the ridge.
In effect, Cromwell's Ironsides were able to enclose the Royalist infantry and cut them off from the rest of the army.
They ask them to surrender, they don't, they give them another dose of shot. They probably ask them to surrender again, and then another hail of bullets come in. So that's a heroic last stand, if you like. So the signature, if you like, of that phase of the battle at Naseby is not one of mass slaughter, but is one of mass surrender.
1,000 Royalists had been killed. Another 5,000 were captured, along with the royal gunpowder supplies. The Parliamentarians lost just 400 men.
The Battle of Naseby destroyed the King's army. The Parliamentarians went on to hunt down and wipe out the last pockets of resistance. King Charles I now lacked the resources to rebuild. Eventually, he surrendered to the Scots, who handed him over to Parliament.